Greetings, adventurers. This is Lorne, your guild advisor, with the DanMemo news for July 14th, 2020. There was a live stream earlier today for Japan, and we got a big news update for the stuff that will be happening in the 3rd anniversary of Astrea Record Part 2 Lost Justice. And as soon as they played the opening PV with the new units, and then they showed this logo, I'm like, oh my god, color theory. The first part was all the Rise of Evil. It had a nice green and blue coloring, and then this, it just feels like a negative coloring with the red, and you can just feel how dark it is. Look how depressed for you is here. And for those of you that have not yet played through the first part of the event, story-wise, you haven't read that yet. Maybe you're just waiting for it to all come out. Maybe you're waiting for the voices to be implemented. Hopefully that comes out soon later. I don't think we have an update when the voices will be implemented quite yet. It is a lot of voice recording, and the bulk of that was delayed because of COVID. But hopefully that is along the way, because there are a lot of emotional scenes happening in just part 1 alone that I really would like to hear the voice work for. But you see right here, the date is 7/16. That's for Japan. It will be tomorrow, the 15th, for those of us in the West. And for Astrea Record Lost Justice, if you clear all the quests, you'll be able to get 400 Iris as a reward. So that's 1/11 draw that you'll be able to get for the banner just from completing the Astrea Record Lost Justice quest. And then you can claim up to 3 4-star single gacha tickets from the event exchange. And let's just start going over the new units. If you haven't gone through the story, you're just going to have to be spoiled on this version of Eyes appearing in the story. This is a 9-year-old version of Eyes. For her unit, she's called Storm Princess Eyes Wallenstein. And if you read Sword Oratoria Volume 9, which delves a bit into Eyes' past, you might have an idea of how her character is in that volume. And as you can see here, she has over 2,000 strength at max limit break, max hero ascension, and her agility is not that high at 991. And then also I'd like to thank, again, as always, Simhow6567 from the DanMemo Reddit Discord for the skill translations we'll be going through. And for her special arts, it's a single target ultra wind physical attack with a temporary great strength boost, and reduces wind resistance by 50%, and also increases the amount of damage that your opponents will take from single target attacks by 25% for 2 turns. So a pretty standard single target move for stuff like Record Buster, single target bosses. And then for her combat skills, her first skill is a self buff, fast, strength, dexterity, when attack damage, and counter rate of 40% for 4 turns. So something you just want to use first before delving into the other moves. And then her second skill is a single target super wind physical attack with a temporary strength boost, and reduces the status buffs of your opponent by 2 turns. And for her final skill, it's a single target high wind physical attack with ultra critical rate. And this new mechanic once more, it will give Eyes a buff, and she'll be able to do 3 actions after that buff, of that being a low wind physical attack with an ultra penetration against 1 opponent. And this new mechanic, the additional actions, we do have a clue of how they work because they've been in the game for about a month now. You can experiment with the Welfare Ryu if you don't have the gacha characters from the last part, but basically you use a move that gives your character extra actions, and then after that first move, on the second move, they'll do another move. Like maybe you say Eyes uses skill 3 first, and she gets that 3 additional actions at the next turn. If she uses skill 1, skill 2, or skill 3, after the completion of one of those skills, she will then do that additional action, low wind physical attack with an ultra penetration against a foe. And a lot of people, you can see how powerful that is, especially with the new Riveria from the last banner, how she was doing a ton of damage in single target situations because of her additional action with that. And then for her notable passives, she has an additional 35% earth resistance, does 20% more damage on penetrations, 20% more damage on criticals, and has the material killer skill. So expect a familiar rush soon where you'll be going against material type monsters. So Eyes is definitely built for single target situations, and she'll be quite useful whenever this familiar rush happens. And for the next character, I didn't really call Shakti, but it was one of the possibilities because she had a new outfit for this event, and it makes a lot of sense considering what happened in part 1. I'm very curious to see how Shakti reacts to what happened in part 1 in this event. But it is City Guardian, Shakti, and as you can see with her stats, she is a balanced type character with only 1576 attack being the highest attack stat she has, max Limit Break, max Seer Ascension, and about 950 speed. And then for her special arts, it's an AoE Ultra Wind Magic attack with a temporary magic boost and reduces strength and agility by 30% for 3 turns. As for her combat skills, her first skill gives your allies a fast physical resistance buff of 40% and also reduces the amount of damage they take from AoE abilities by 20% for 5 turns. And she grants herself 3 additional actions of a 30% heal on your allies. So she is another damage reduction type of character, very useful for stall teams. Like, she have her skill alone, like, she immediately sets up a huge defense against AoE and physical characters, and then she also sets up for her next few turns, giving her a 30% heal on your allies for those next 3 turns. And then for her second skill, it's an AoE Super Wind Magic attack with a temporary magic boost and ultra uncounter rate, and reduces enemy strength by 40% for 3 turns, and gives your allies a 20% heal. So if she uses skill 1 first and then skill 2, you're getting a lot of heals, a 20% heal and a 30% heal on that same turn. And then for her third skill, it's a single target Super Wind Magic attack with a temporary magic boost, an ultra penetration rate, and removes strength buffs excluding assist skills. And for a notable passive, she has the counter heal ability, where she will heal the lowest health party member when she is supposed to counter. She has 35% damage reduction on her guards, and a bonus 20% physical and magic resistance. So Shakti is very good for a stall-based team. And for the next character, we're getting more Astrea Familia characters, this time Conspired Hand, Lyra. And I don't think it was ever described what exactly her weapons were in the light novel, but they look really cool, almost kind of like chakrams. They're very interesting visually. But I really like her arts right here. She might actually have my favorite arts of the characters from this batch of characters. And she will be a magic focused character with 1952 at max Limit Break, max Seer Ascension, and her agility is at 955 for that. For her special arts, it's an AoE Ultra Earth Magic attack with a temporary magic boost and ultra critical rate, and slows your enemies, and she also reduces their magic resistance by 50% for 2 turns. So a lot of stuff happening with that skill, and it's really useful if you do get that slow off, especially in stuff like war games. And then for her combat skills, her first skill is a fast debuff to your opponents of 30% agility, 35% magic resistance for 5 turns, and also gives herself 2 additional actions of a low earth magic attack against all foes. So because it is strictly a buffing move, it will go very fast in the turn order, and that agility debuff is actually 5% greater than the one from the Goblin Slayer collaboration Ryu, so that's something to keep in mind. But it looks like this Lyra will be quite useful for magic teams that are especially prioritizing fast attacks. And her second skill is an AoE mid-earth magic attack with a temporary magic boost and ultra uncounter rate, and increases her own magic by 50% and decreases opponents' earth resistance by 40% for 2 turns. So a decently good AoE move that will increase her own magic and decrease your enemy's earth resistance. So if you have a earth team in mind, that might be something to keep in mind with Lyra. Or maybe you just want to take advantage of this earth resistance and you have an earth team and you just want to use Lyra like on the first turn for something like a Familiar Rush where the enemy is weak to earth and you want to just get out that debuff and then switch her out using one of those revolving amulets. And then for her third skill, it's a single target high earth magic attack that will increase in damage by 35% for each magic resistance debuff skill on your opponent, and also has an ultra critical rate. So you want to be making sure you have an assist that has the magic resistance debuff skill, and then also making sure that you're using Lyra's first skill to have full advantage of that single target modifier. And then for a notable passive, she has an extra 25% thunder resistance, an extra 50% damage on counters, and 10% more damage on criticals and penetrations. And then what is probably our last character from Astrea Familia we'll be getting, besides possibly a 5-star Ryu on a gacha banner for part 3, Scarlet Sword Gojino Kaguya. And she is the vice captain for Astrea Familia, and I like her art as well. And unfortunately her strength is not over 2k like a lot of the other characters having like magic at 2k or strength past 2k. It's only 1986, but it's still a pretty high number, and then her agility is a bit high at 1094 at max limit break, max Seer Ascension. And for her special arts, it's an AoE Ultra Fire physical attack with a temporary strength boost and ultra penetration rate, and reduces your enemy's physical resistance by 60% for 1 turn. And for her combat skills, her first skill is an AoE high fire physical attack with a temporary strength boost and ultra uncounter rate, and gives herself 2 additional actions of a low fire physical attack on all foes. And then for her second skill, it's an AoE fast low fire physical attack with an ultra unguard rate, and increases her strength and dexterity by 60%, and also reduces your opponent's physical resistance by 35% for 1 turn. Now, because it is just for 1 turn, it makes me wonder how you want to set her in war games, because if you were to set her in buff, I'm wondering which one of these skills would take priority. If the additional actions overrides the buff that skill 2 gives, we'll just have to experiment with how that goes. It is kind of unfortunate that skill 2 is just for 1 turn though. I almost have a feeling you just want to set her to attack all, to just always do skill 1, especially if you pair up with Elise. And if you do have very high Elise you're using for war games, I'd say that you probably just do want to get Kaguya and have an amazing Fire Girl combo. Before it was Krotso and Argonauts for the Fire Bros, and now they're getting out of the way for the Fire Gals. And then for skill 3, it's a single target high fire physical attack with a temporary great boost and ultra penetration rate, just a solid single target hitting attack. And then for notable passive, she has an additional 35% wind resistance, has 4% HP MP regen every turn, and has an additional 15% damage on criticals and penetrations. And then onto the assist characters, and this one makes me very... How is this possible? Seer is... I've made tons of content, and I've always said, like, I like Seer as a character, I just don't trust her completely. And Seer in Danmachi Present is supposed to be 18 years old, so this event taking place 7 years in the past. She's supposed to be 11, and I really need to see what she... this would sound really wrong. I want to see what she looks like without those clothes. That's not what I mean. I mean, like, the clothes she's wearing right now kind of hides her age, and there's no 11-year-old that looks like that in my mind, because we see eyes at 9 and Seer at 11 is quite different. So, man, her relationship with Freya, we're gonna get some answers out of this event. And I know Volume 16 that releases in Japan later in the year, and it's supposed to be like the start of like a Seer-centered arc, and I can't wait to get that in English. And that's like 2021 stuff. Man, what is Seer doing here? What is she doing here at 11? Anyway, Seer will be an assist. She has pretty balanced stats when it comes to strength and magic, but her agility is a 589, so that's pretty dang high. And then her assist skill at +5 is an ailment nullification of 3 times to your allies, and also reduces your enemy's physical and magic resistance by 15%. Now, there are a lot of ailment teams, or not as much ailment teams as there are like physical and magic ones, but there are quite an amount. So a lot of people have been using Ariadne to combat that, and now people have another person that they can use to combat ailment teams with Seer, especially if you have a more offensive team in mind, because it does reduce physical and magic resistance of your opponents, as opposed to the 2 Ariadnes that reduce strength or magic depending which one you get. And then the other new assist character is, of course, a character that had a new outfit in part 1, which makes me think that Alan will probably get a new unit as well, because he's the remaining character that has new art for the event, but not yet a unit. But right now we're talking about Osfi, Wings of Secession. She's the other assist. She, again, kind of like Seer, has rather balanced stats when it comes to strength and magic, but she has 565 dexterity. And as for assist skill at +5, she gives your allies a 15% dexterity buff, and also increases the amount of damage your opponents receive from single target attacks by 20%. Now, it's a kind of a weird thing that it says, like, it gives all opponents a debuff to their single target resistance, but I'll trust this translation. Maybe there are cases where there are multiple opponents but you want to use a single target attack. Maybe like a Familiar Rush wave where there's like one big monster but 2 smaller ones. We'll just have to see what this exactly is. Now, the funny thing about this Osphie that she's almost kind of like the reverse of the Moonlight Reunion Hestia, the movie Hestia assist that has 20% dexterity to your allies and 15% single target damage to your opponents. This is the reverse where Osphie does 15% dex and then 20% more single target damage. So I think they're kind of interchangeable. Like if you don't have that Hestia at a good limit break, maybe you want to try your luck at getting this Osphie at a good limit break. But well, personally, I'm going to be spending 8k Iris again because I said I would be, but also because they split up the two Astrea family members among the two banners. As you can see for the first banner, Justice Leap, it's Eyes, Osphie, and Lyra, and then on Justice Eye, it's Kaguya, Shakti, and Seer. So I'll again be doing my 8k Iris, going all 10 rolls on each banner because I want as many limit breaks for the Astrea family members as possible because I love them. And as you can see right there, there's a double Dagachi rate for 4-star units. Unfortunately, it's not the banners aren't like strictly the new characters, like the other characters across the general pool are scattered in there as well, but the event characters are still a higher rate, but you do have chances to get the other gacha characters in the general pool. And if you saw one of my previous roll videos, you can see me getting two of the same swimsuit Mikoto somehow. Very, very low odds. And then there will be a heroic trial for the first banner of characters with Lyra, Eyes, and Osphie. And of course, if we're following a similar format from the previous part, in the next 2 weeks, we'll be getting a heroic trial for either a Shakti, Kaguya, or Seer bond. And the new banners and heroic trial will go live tomorrow night on the 15th. And then this is the login bonus, which will go live on the 16th. A lot of Iris there. You see that 300 at the very end. And then this is something very interesting. The Worldwide Gacha Ticket 10 million splitting campaign. And you can see it takes place over the course of the 16th through the 27th. Received based on login counts. It's very confusing, but from what I understand, maybe someone can correct me, from what I understand, there's like 10 million 3-star single tickets, and they're spread among the people that are logging into the game. That's how I understand it. So the more tickets, the better, the more chances we get units we want. And then this is a login during the period and get them. Is it wrong that you can get all the 4-star Hestia's campaign? And according to the translation on the DanMemo Reddit Discord, they're basically just giving us a copy of every single Hestia assist. And this starts taking place tomorrow night, I believe, and then the campaign extends all the way until pretty much December. So this should be exciting for, like, especially new players who don't have many assists. Like this is every Hestia, and I guess if there are like certain Hestias you don't have maximum broken, or you just need one more bond, this is really awesome. But we'll just see how exactly this works later on. But I think you're going to see that this game has a ridiculous amount of Hestias whenever we get these Hestias in the game into our like present box. And then this is the 2020 Labyrinth City Collection. A new adventure or assist unit will be based on the costume voted the best in the world for each character category. So it's said that there'll be a selection for Belle, Hestia, and Eyes. We're starting with Belle tomorrow night, and we can vote on our favorite costume that Belle has with some tickets that we're getting through each login. And they'll be making a new Belle based on that outfit, I guess. It says a new adventure or assist unit will be based on the costume. I'm guessing it's a new Belle based on the outfit. That's kind of weird. Maybe it is a brand new character that is similar, and I don't know. But the most interesting part to this is that they have the Belle we never got in the Western areas. It was from the children's like day event in Japan that was never reran over here, and it's like kindergartner Belle right here. It's so weird how this is in the graphic for a character we've never had. I can only imagine everyone that recognizes this is just going to vote for the kindergartner Belle. So I suggest you guys do that if that is actually an option they still keep in the game, because we don't have that Belle yet. We don't have it yet. And this is basically Familia stuff. It looks like your Familia levels will be like just uncapped. I'm not sure if they're going to be adding more skills, or they just want to uncap the Familia levels. You can just keep putting levels into your Familia for some reason. And then there'll be new Familia missions, and they didn't go too in depth on this, and they did not give a date. So I think this is just an announcement, and we'll be seeing the the fruits of this later on. And then a small announcement for people that have not yet gone through all the story or still have some story to go through. All of the main story episodes, Belle, Eyes, Lafia, and Ryu, will be a third of the stamina cost. So if you still have some quests to do, it will be a really good time to start doing it, and this should go live tomorrow night along with the rest of the updates as well. And then this is the weapon upgrade support campaign. Basically, it's going to help people that are just making equipment. Equipment upgrades will have a great success rate tripled. The crafting quest drop rate will be doubled permanently, so it'll be a lot easier to get the crafting materials for your weapons and armor. And then you can get 100 iris when you do equipment ascension, so definitely make sure you at least get the iris out of this as well. And then this is just some paid iris shenanigans. There's a new combo with 600 paid iris and 10 hero light of the 2 purchases. You get extra bonus iris if you purchase a 300 package. It's now 400. If you purchase a 1400 iris package, it's now 1600. You can do it up to 3 times because we have lots of paid stuff for you to get with this 3rd anniversary with the Astrea Record Lost Justice bundles. Yeah, be careful with your spending, guys. And 7 Zone, of course, going through its weekly refresh. There's just a special 7 Zone support campaign this time. The rewards will be doubled for the first time clear, and if you clear normal, you'll get up to 240 iris, so definitely make sure you clear it this time if you have not been doing that. I may have skipped a few weeks myself. And the Record Buster this week will be Finn. It's been quite some time since we've seen him. And I didn't really address the new wargame update that happened last week, but basically there was a new rank added, being Jester, between King and Hero. It's basically just helping with the King 1 wall that people have been facing. It's just spreading people across Jester now, so it's actually better because the ratings are now lower for King, and ratings are split between 3300, 3400, and then 3500 for Jester, so it's dividing more people amongst those ranks. So when you get to like King 1, you're not just being matched up against someone in Hero right away. So it is actually better for the game that way. You get some extra iris if you were stuck at King 1 and now you're like Jester 3 or 2. And also on Twitter, there's going to be a campaign very similar to what happened in Part 1. A chance to pull up to 110 gachas, like the daily 11 draw tickets we got during Part 1. You just need to make sure you do the retweet campaign. For every 200 retweets, we get 11 draw tickets, so we need up to 2k to get the maximum amount. And I'm just like playing through this video. Let's just skip to my favorite part of this. It's yes, this eyes, oh wait, yes, that right there. Riveria and the new eyes will have a special combination attack where Riveria just smacks Eyes in the head. Oh no, there's Ryu. So sad. You guys need to... Oh, they need to... If you guys are waiting for the voices to the game, they need to add it soon because Part 1 is nuts. And then we got 2 more parts to go through. 2 more. But let's go over the absolutely loaded upcoming schedule. Starting on the 15th, because this is Western time. It'll be the bulk of the stuff. The 3rd anniversary Part 2, Great Tale, Astrea Record Lost Justice, the 2 gacha banners, the Worldwide Gacha Ticket 10 million splitting campaign, the 1/3 stamina cost for main story content, the 2020 Labyrinth City Collection Bell Selection, the 7 Zone refresh and the support campaign, the weapon upgrade campaign, the paid iris combo with the hero lights, the bonus iris campaign, all the paid bundles for Astrea Record Lost Justice. The heroic trial will start again 7 Zone, and then Record Buster Finn, and then on the 16th will be the start of that login bonus, and then the start of the retweet campaign, 11 drop ticket distributions, and then right there, sneak announcement on the 22nd will be a Familiar Rush. And you've seen some of these characters had the material killer ability, so if you want to do really, really well, you roll for those characters. But I myself am just really excited to start reading through Part 2 of this story. Part 1 was really, really good. A lot of build up and then a lot of sadness happening, as you can probably tell from this visual again. Really curious to see what happens in it. What the heck is Seer doing here? Why does she not look 11 years old? Maybe she is, and her clothes are just so baggy. It hides that. I need to know. I need to know these answers, and I hope the voices, again, come really soon, because I know some people are waiting on that to experience the story. And if you guys haven't checked it out, before the event starts tomorrow night, check out my Part 1 story discussion that I uploaded last night. And that really should be happening a lot faster than that. And I I promise that part 2's story discussion will be out a lot sooner than the almost month I gave this one. But anyway, I wish you guys luck on your rolls. Hope you're excited for the second part of this event and the story that comes with it. If you want to see more danmachi content, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter, and join my Discord. And as always, continue enjoying your time adventuring Aurario and the dungeon. This is Lauren, your guild advisor, signing out. 今選ぼう